The first thing I want to do is watch your pull out for a couple times. We'll come back to that in just a second. And what I want you to watch is your hands at your waist. Right there. See, there's no pause there. You need to have a good amount of time where you're letting that strength of your pull, see it? You need to wait on that. Wait just a little bit and let that strength move take its course. Let's watch it twice more. You can remember when you learned to pull out back in wave 2. 3, 2, 1. There has to be a pause in that second position right there. You don't want to come up right away. Get that pause going just a little. Get that strength move. The next thing I want to look at is squeezing your kick. We all know you have a tremendous kick. I mean, that's obvious. But as we watch this clip of you moving away from us a few times, you can see that you're not finishing that kick. I mean, there's a tremendous force at that point with your feet coming back, but you have to finish it by closing and essentially squeezing the water out from between your feet. That's really important to the end of a kick, that there's a snap there at the end. Obviously you have tremendous force generated at the top of that kick, but you have to finish it at the end by squeezing your feet together. The final thing I want to look at, and it's really what we worked with a lot last week, is a couple of different aspects of your stroke, and you've most definitely already made some improvements to what I talked about last week in terms of getting your hands wide and not making that break with your elbow. But there's a few things right away, and you can really see it there. See how far back your elbows come on your body? You really want to get to the point where your elbows are really mostly staying in front of you. You want the majority of the stroke to take place out in the front. You want it as wide as you can before your elbows do anything, and then you want your hands coming in toward your chin like you have them. So you're getting into a weak position, which is your elbows back by your body. So you want to get that more forward, and you can see it right coming back here, right there. See how far back those elbows come? That's essentially the dropped elbow position that we talk about in free and fly and all that stuff, and a little bit in backstroke. You want to avoid that dropped elbow position. You can also see here that needs to be more stretch at the front. You're not letting that tremendous kick of yours finish. You don't give yourself an opportunity to finish that kick at the back. You need to stretch forward and let it finish. And I may need a few more times through this to talk to you about this. I don't know how many times I dumped this clip in. I may have to do it a couple more times. But there's 3 dimensions to breaststroke: length, width, and depth. And when you look at this again, you have a little bit of length, a little bit of width, and a little bit of depth. So what we really need to do is think about those 3 dimensions out in front. You need to be longer at the front to let your kick finish. You need to be wider at the sides to get that still water before you break your elbows. See how your elbows kind of break a little bit? Bringing your hands not quite as wide as I've demonstrated and talked to you about. So length and width. And then once you reach that widest part, you want to bring your hands as deep as you can without letting your elbows go back around. And that's where the real power comes from. I can remember times when my forearms just ached after breaststroke sets. My hands hurt because there was so much pressure that I was keeping on the water during those times. So length, width, depth. Length, width, and then depth, all coming back up to the surface. And you know, I don't want you to feel like there's a ton of stuff wrong. Obviously what you do is very effective. You're a very good breaststroker.
That's good.
But if you can think about these couple of little things that I've mentioned so far, and specifically this right here, this is a big deal. This length, width, and then depth of the stroke before it comes back up to the front. That's going to make you a lot more successful.
Okay, that's good.